Hey everyone, in this video we're visiting the first shipping container home in Toronto, Canada. It's a stunning space inside and out, and we're really excited to show you around and show you how it was built. The homeowners, Anna and Carl, were looking for a home for their growing family, but because of Toronto's inflated real estate prices, they decided to build a home above the restaurant that they already owned on Queen Street West. They came up with a plan to float part of the house above the restaurant using pillars and to modify 3 used shipping containers off-site so they could be installed quickly in just a few hours. Carl designed, built, and finished most of this beautiful home himself, including a lot of the welding, which helped them save even more money on the build. So let's go meet up with Anna and Carl to find out more.
Carl's from Jamaica, I'm Portuguese, and in both those countries containers get used quite a bit. So we had been seeing containers being used for years, and we wondered why it hadn't happened in Toronto yet, and we really wanted to explore. This is the first container house in Toronto, which means we did have to jump through some hula hoops to get here. It took about 6 years of paperwork from like when we started drawing out the designs to permits to all that, and 3 years from the moment we started digging, like actual breaking the ground, to moving in. We already owned this building, but it was just the restaurant. It was cheaper because Carl did most of the work, and because the price of the houses around here are so high. For us though, more than the price tag was the dream of building our home from scratch. We just didn't think that we could do it in downtown Toronto.
You know, Toronto's been open. Toronto's that kind of city. It's like, a lot can happen here. There's some gaps in the building codes that allows you to build to the line of your building. And we realized we could do this. The question was, how do we do it? You know, how do we have this huge renovation? How do you add 2,800 square feet and not close the restaurant for an indefinite period and then quite potentially go out of business? You know what I'm saying? It's like, how do you do that? We're like, okay, let's just frame out an exoskeleton above the restaurant and drop them onto it. Like construct everything somewhere else and then bring it in, back it into the alley and drop them one by one. And there's the issue of wires and Rogers wires and bell lines and light wires. It's crazy back there, right?
It's a very busy alley too, so
yeah.
It gets used a lot.
Like I went through literally like 7 crane operators before I found one crazy enough to do it. And this guy came down, 2 guys, and a bunch of hand signals, and they were awesome.
And all the neighbors came to watch.
And it was like a party.
We pulled the kids out of school, and they came to watch, and it was great.
Yeah.
And it all went really well.
In 3 hours. Like they dropped them in 3 hours.
Which really does say a lot about what can be done. Like if, we had so many restrictions, building above a business, building in this tiny space in the back alley on Queen Street. But if you can think about taking containers, modifying them, doing as much as possible off-site, and then just actually bringing them in and plopping them down on a piece of land, like that's what is amazing about shipping containers. Originally, the design was using 13 containers. But then we realized that that wasn't feasible. It was going to cost a lot of money. Yeah. So we had to change our design to still use the containers, but only use 3, and then do the rest a conventional build to tie it into the containers.
We use high cubes. High cubes give you about 9'6" ceilings, right? So it's really high.
And that's a great way to create that airy feeling, right? Just having the extra high containers. So the house is 2 stories up a level. So the ground floor is where the restaurant is. Then we come up and we have our living room, kitchen area, which also doubles as a yoga studio because I teach yoga here during the day. So it's all done so that everything moves out of the way and we have lots of space. Also lots of space for our 5 children. And then upstairs we have the bedrooms. We also have a bathroom in the main floor and 2 bathrooms on the top floor. Our life is kind of a whirlwind around this building. It's a busy space. There's people in and out all the time. But that's kind of how our life has always been, except before we had to travel, and now we just do it all here, which is beautiful because it really does save on a lot of time. So it's really nice to be in the neighborhood that we love and just be able to have everything concentrated here.
So I had the idea of what we were doing, right? We said, okay, I need this cut out, and we drew the plans up, right? So we cut out everything that needed to be cut out. We insulated the underside of it because they would be dropped. Once they're dropped, you can't lift it again to insulate it. So we put spray foam in the underside and all the joist wells on the underside of all of them so that we wouldn't lose any heat when we put the infloor heat in. But the walls weren't framed out, it was just a can. How long did it take to do the interior of the building? A year?
Let's say a year.
Yeah. Insulating these things are a huge concern. Moisture, huge concern. The fact that these things ever get struck by a lightning, it's a metal box just sitting up there, you know what I mean? It's like, it has all kinds of legitimate concerns, yeah. You know, our temperatures vary from plus 40 to minus 40. There's a lot of movement in steel and wood. You know, how you connect steel to wood and wood to steel and steel to concrete. It's like, you know what I mean? It has to take all of these, you know, all the physics into it. My engineer was up for the fun part of it, to figure it out, you know? And we figured it out together, a lot of it, you know? One of the issues you have with these kind of structures is thermal barriers, right? When an entire sheet of steel gets cold, you know what I mean? Whatever insulation is there, the gap, they need a gap so that it doesn't transfer. We had to think that through because very rarely do you find a house that its entire wall is a metal. We use wood where we could because wood doesn't transfer cold as much as, you know what I'm saying? The internal frame on the east side is wood, but on the west side is metal because it's an exterior wall that needs a fire-rated material. So all the codes that we had to apply on where the codes went. For example, one of the things we discovered was to put blue skin on the inside of the walls. And blue skin, it changes the entire equation. It's 2 mil thick, but it just changes the condensation when it's applied to the wall. But instead of doing it on the exterior, we did it on the interior of the wall. It was a bit of a nightmare. And we still married.
Yeah, that's impressive. My favorite part is our bedroom and my yoga nook and the balcony. I love it. I've got flowers and it's just so beautiful. I make my coffee and then go back to bed when I can and just sit there and look at it all because it's just peaceful and beautiful, and when all the kids are running around, I can sometimes escape, lock the door, and just be there.
My favorite part of the house is the roof. You know, it was always to take advantage of the view. I still haven't built that yet, you know, but when that is finished, yeah, it's gonna be a dope space. It's a very rare thing anyone gets to do these days, is to build your home from ground up. It's been an honor to build this thing.
We first heard about this project a couple of years ago when we met up with Anthony from StoreStack. They actually modified the containers for Carl and Anna's house, and if you're interested in learning more about building with containers, definitely check out the video that we made with them. I'll link to it in the description below. If you like this video, please share it, be sure to subscribe, and thanks for watching.